Hi everyone. First off, I just wanted to say that I've been having a great time on YouTube recently. I really appreciate the hundreds of comments I've received on my videos in the last couple months. I also appreciate my new subscribers, and among them I've noticed a few well-known users that I'd actually subscribed to and greatly admired already. So that's been really exciting to see, and I feel truly honored that they are interested in what I have to say, and that they even found me at all, actually, especially since I'm not really the screaming in your face type, so it's probably harder for my thoughts to be noticed in the vast sea of thoughts that is YouTube. So, I have some things to say today. As some people have commented in my deconversion video I made a while ago, it would be nice if there was a way to provide non-believers the secular version of sort of food for the soul that could remove that one last barrier that causes people to cling to the security blanket of religion. You see, religious leaders can be very good at being inspiring and comforting, even if the inspiration is in the form of completely meaningless platitudes or verses from the Bible backed up with no evidence. Dawkins, Hitchens, and other atheist thought leaders are very bright people. However, since they don't have an endless bag of emotional magic tricks to make people feel like someone important cares about them, I'm sure some believers that are on the fence about their faith are reluctant to release themselves into what they see as cold, hard reality. For non-believers, there aren't any heartwarming ceremonies packed with supernatural symbolism, there are no pancake breakfasts, there are no weekend field trips and big vans with our lack of faith proudly displayed in big letters on it, to give us that sense of community and warm, fuzzy security blanket feeling, given to us by others just for seeing the world as it really is. Some may say about this, well, what's the harm in having that security blanket of faith? Unfortunately, it's not that simple, because that emotional security often comes with a high emotional price to the person of faith. I'll give you an example of what I mean from a conversation I had with one of my closest friends a couple weeks ago. My friend and I were in my living room talking about his two kids, and about the difficulties he and his wife experienced in having them. His wife had a medical condition that made it very difficult to have kids, but not impossible with minor surgery. So, she had the surgery, and then she had some medication to help prevent miscarriage. But even then, the doctor said that she had other health risks that would make it unlikely for her to have kids. So my friend said that they prayed about it, and a couple years later, they finally had a son. And then a few years after that, they had a daughter. So it worked. So I asked him, what do you think actually was it that worked? Do you think it was the medication? Do you think it was the surgery? Do you think God did it? And he said, without hesitation, he said, God did it. And I pondered that for a moment, and then I asked him, I know this is going to sound like a strange question, but do you say that because you believe that it's possible that God might cause this something to happen to your kids if you don't acknowledge his role in giving you those kids? And he paused for a second and then was like, well, no, it doesn't work like that. But it was interesting because his eyes said something very different than what he actually said. His eyes were very wide, and he kind of looked at the floor for a moment and thought about it. And he shook it off quickly and changed the subject, but this little exchange told me all that I needed to know. He actually thinks that there's some finite chance that his children might be destroyed by the God that he loves and that believes created those children for him, just for not acknowledging his role in their creation. Is there any worse self-imposed emotional terrorism than this? That is the price he pays for that security blanket of faith that he feels protects him from life's difficult choices and daily struggles. It doesn't have to be that way, and I wish it were not. He's a good friend, and I don't like seeing him controlled that way. So what is the point of all this? The point is, the better we can make our lives for each other, the less people will feel the need to cling to religion. So to that end, I encourage everyone this holiday season, and especially my fellow non-believers, to be just a little bit kinder, a little bit more understanding, and show a little bit more empathy for your fellow humans. Use some of that time and money that you're not wasting to appease a deity to donate time or money to a good cause, or do something on a more personal level to help someone out. I recently did something a little bit unusual along those lines, just like last week actually, that I'll describe in my next video. So it's these types of small connections between people that I feel define our lives the most, And I'm not even suggesting we all try to change the world or anything like that. In fact, for most of us, making your corner of the world just a little bit better is actually the closest thing to a godlike influence that we'll probably ever have. And you know what? I'm completely fine with that, because at least I know that is real. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas.